fucking each other up the arse.
I think I had. It's not fucking funny. Was one of the ones I was thinking.
Aye.
Can you
Oh,
put
we could have.
it on that Google Drive, Kyle, and I'll listen to it tonight?
Oh, sponsored by Danky Delicious
I'll put the
IPA.
I'll put the titles in the chat, and then we can decide.
We can decide.
Danky Delicious IPA. That's what we can go
Dank
for.
Delicious. I thought that was funny.
Dank.
Is it Dankalicious just now?
No. This week we've got the Bison Grass Polish wheat beer from the excellent Polish box from Beer 52. I don't know if you've heard of Beer 52, guys. I don't know if you've heard of that before, but there's a company called Beer 52 and they send you delicious beers straight to your door. And I'm pretty sure Kyle can insert a little advert in here that will tell you how to get a free case by going to beer52.com/morons. Carry on.
Carry on. Like I'm going to edit that. I'm just going to fucking leave it at that way. There you go, Beer 52. Thanks for your beer. That is your advert now being replaced by the
Well, that's fucking delicious. This one's genuinely fucking delicious.
Sorry I don't speak moron as well as you, but let me try.
What the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
It's a moron. That's not against the law.
Gun! You fucking moron!
Dressed up like Batman.
Because he is Batman, you moron.
What are you, a fucking moron? Ah!
You moron. Drop dead. Moron.
Whoa!
Up here, you morons.
Stepping morons like yourself.
Me down, you moron! Hey, moron!
Any had Zabrovka vodka before?
Aye.
That's in the wee bar now.
It tastes like... Oh, is it?
I mean,
Marky got it in the wee bar, but they actually finished the bottle on the first day that it was there. Like, it felt like 6 o'clock or something.
you see that that vodka? There was a pub I was in Glasgow once. You got that with apple juice. It was called a Frisky Bison.
Frisky Bison. I first had it in Krakow. That's what it was called there, Frisky Bison.
Was that the one that Mark was
delicious,
having with the apple juice, Sean?
Aye.
Aye. I had one of them.
It is a wonderful drink. Like, Zabrovka and apple juice is wonderful. Speaking of wonderful, what film are we watching this week, Kyle?
You're on ball with this, eh? Like sidetracking, putting us back in. Well, welcome into another episode of Morons Review Movies. You are here, of course, to listen to another movie get picked apart, just like last week's. Very good movie did from those morons. I hope you've had time to think about your choices from 6 minutes ago. This week we have got a movie from Mr. Paul, who I would like to introduce his movie.
What, you want me to give a description of what?
I want you to fucking tell us why you picked this, what it is.
There was no high concept. It was just went down a list, something that I hadn't seen, that was highly rated, that I'd always quite fancied watching, and I actually really enjoyed it. To be honest, like I had high expectations, and they probably didn't quite meet the level, but it was pretty good. I thought really. I can't. How long was it? Was it an hour and 50? No.
Aye, just under 2 hours.
Nah, just shy of 2 hours.
Which is quite long for a film back in the days, but I felt like like the stuff at the start, like it kind of takes a wee while. I mean, obviously because it's been parodied so much and everyone knows what it's about. You're kind of waiting for the big incident, and it does take a while to get to that part. But like overall, it was just like the guy that plays Norman Bates.
Unbelievable.
I've never seen him in anything else. Never really heard him.
Obviously, that's the bit that you're saying. Obviously, a lot of this has been parodied quite a lot. But see that scene where he like looks up like Dennis.
Yeah. I mean, this is like nearly the end of the movie though. Like
I don't think at the end. Amazing, man.
You know the it's hard because obviously there's amazing acting performances through the history of cinema, but it feels like that guy is like plucked through like a more modern like time. He sticks out so much in this movie.
Yeah,
like, when he comes on screen, he just like see the guy that's like the love interest at the start.
Yeah,
he just seems like a generic like handsome,
50s leading man, aye.
50s leading man, really good looking with his shirt, like he's got his shirt off. That's why he's been picked. And then this guy comes on screen and it's just like, where the fuck have they been hiding him? Like,
aye, different levels, eh? Like,
just, I feel like if it wasn't for him, I don't know what would have happened to this movie, because he's phenomenal, like so good.
A quick search of him on IMDb there to see what Anthony Perkins is well known for in other movies. So he's well known for Psycho, Psycho 2, Psycho 3, and Psycho 4.
That's it.
Pretty much, aye. Another movie popped up called The Black Hole, which has got a 5.9 on IMDb. So he's obviously, this has been the role for him. So he probably, it's maybe one of the scenarios where like he is just Norman Bates. He's not Anthony Perkins when it comes to his acting career, because he is incredible in this, and you kind of hang off with every word that he's speaking, and he's very sinister in the way that he walks, the way that he looks, the way that he delivers these lines. I've seen this movie at least a handful of times, and it's one of those ones where every time you're watching it, it's like setting that scene as well as giving it your attention, because you have to get drawn in by it. And I'm very guilty of doing other things when I'm watching movies, but not with this one. I feel like you need to put full attention, because the tension builds and builds and builds and builds.
Yeah.
And I know what. Sorry.
I was going to say, like, the soundtrack obviously just adds to that. Like, it's just so well done through. Like, you know when to pay attention. You know when you're going to be gripped. You know when someone's building up. And obviously, we're going to touch on it, but the scene, obviously the shower scene, the one that everyone knows. I know, Dubs, you thought that was dragged on. I thought that was still ridiculously early in the film. I'm going into this blind. I was thinking that was going to be towards the crescendo, with the fact that there was still so much in the film to look forward to at that point. Just like adds to it as well, that you've got that thing.
Being a tad harsh with that. I just meant that obviously her like stealing the money, and then the thing with the traffic cop, and then the used car salesman. The used car salesman I thought was really good.
He was brilliant. Excellent.
Aye, like really good. But it took a wee while to get. Maybe it was just because I knew what was coming. I was just the anticipation a wee bit. But I will say that the reason I raised my hand there for a bit was, see, obviously the shower scene. You're talking about the score and stuff like that. There's no sound when she's in the shower apart from
the water running. Yeah,
and amazing. You just know. Obviously everyone knows what's coming. But even
it does when. Obviously, when Norman Bates, you see the silhouette behind you, it does start picking up at that point.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
And the thing is as well, and because I was saying that, everyone knows what's coming, but yet it was still really like shocking. And then it's really violent as well. There's not really a lot of blood. Well, it's black and white, so you don't see the colour anyway. You see a wee bit of sort of dark material going down the plug hole, but it sort of lingers on it a wee bit. Like, it's hard to watch, actually.
Aye. I think obviously they don't have the special effects to show you like a knife going into a body and all that back then. Do you know what I mean? So I think the film actually benefits for that point, that it's just like it cuts away just at the last second, just before he like strikes it every time. And they still managed to do a really good job of making you think that he's doing it. And then just that small amount of blood going down the tap and then down into the plug hole and all that. I just think it's fucking perfect. But you were mentioning like the crescendo and the build up. To me, for this film, after you've seen it, so when you've not seen it before, I think you're looking forward to that shower scene. After you've seen it, what you're looking forward to is the big reveal when she goes down to the basement and you find out that the mother and the corpse and all that. Like, I'll be honest, like I felt quite giddy watching this. Like, I was on a roller coaster for those bits. Like, even though I know what's coming, I'm just like, see the bit where you're going up and you're up and up and you're ready to go over the edge. Even though you know what's coming, it's still fucking exciting. Like, this film does an amazing job of that for me. It just makes you fucking, even though you've seen it, you're like, oh, this is that bit again. And I'm like, fuck it, yes. Like, it's so good, man. It's so well delivered.
I was just going to say, it's like when Dubs was touched on the point about how it takes a bit of time to build up, is I think they do a perfect way of that. I was going to completely blind. I hadn't seen any of the scenes. Like, when you're talking about the shower scene, know what's going to happen or no. Like, to me, it was just, I had no idea what was going to happen. And I thought that because it was obviously an older film, sometimes I come in and sort of say that, oh, it didn't age that well, it's too old for me, blah, blah, blah. But no, I thought this was really enjoyable as well. It's like the I think as well it helped for me that like I watched it really late at night as well, which maybe was a good idea to try and get to sleep right. But I think I finished watching
You must have fucking shat yourself. Because
it was about 11 o'clock.
I knew most of what was coming, despite the fact I hadn't seen it, and I still like jumped out my skin. I did 3 or 4 times. So if you have never seen or heard anything about this, and you watched it at night in the dark, probably under the blanket, curtain shut, everything, you must have absolutely bricked it.
I had to stop wanking and everything.
Yeah.
I think I finished about 11 o'clock at night, so obviously I must have started.
What about the film?
And I did obviously what you said. You've done a few times, Kel, in terms of putting everything in complete darkness, which I think did help my enjoyment as well, because I was thinking that if I watched this so early in the day, then I wouldn't have found it as scary is the wrong word, but in terms of anticipation for what was going to happen, I don't think I would have had this. It would have had the same impact on me, because it definitely helps because it's black and white as well. So obviously it adds to that illusion of it being even darker. Is like, and when Daniel made the point about sometimes I'll say that there's too much blood and guts and all that stuff in a film, but because obviously they don't show it, it made me not really bothered about that at all. Whereas I didn't think it was that violent. It was more about anticipation and wonder what's going to happen next. And the other thing, because I was going completely blind to it, was you might be able to say all these films which it does do this, but to me there was a complete swerve as well, because obviously Marion's like the main character at the very start, so I just assumed that she's going to be in the film the full way through it, and she obviously dies maybe halfway through possibly.
Even halfway through.
No, even halfway.
There's a complete change of shift, because you've now got completely brand new main characters, which to me is something completely different you don't usually see in a film. Like usually we'd have, she starts it off, she might be the one that's getting chased, maybe her like husband or sister, they're the one that die or whatever, and she's in it for the duration. And I thought she was really good as well. I agree with you how you're saying that Norman was classing it as well, because for me that when you first see him, they do quite a good way of building the character, because at the start, when you see him, to me, he just seems this nervous guy. You don't seem as if he's got anything sinister about him.
He seems quite like affable almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you sort of, you kind of feel like if you met him, you would like feel yourself like, I'm comfortable with this guy, and because she is right away, like she's on the runway, she's embezzled all this cash, and she's like kind of on the run. And then she meets this guy who's a fucking psychopath, and she just completely like gives into him straight away, and she's like sitting eating with him, like sharing sort of kind of stories about their lives and stuff like that. But that's totally what happens to the audience, the viewer, I would say as well. And that's the genius of the performance, I would say, of that guy. Who he just
comes across as shy and nervous to me at the very start, and obviously it's only after it builds and builds and builds, and Hunter made a
there's almost like it's like a childlike thing. Describe it.
Very innocent. He seems very innocent.
When you've had so much abuse, which they kind of allude to, that's probably why he's never really grown up.
Beyond a child,
Yeah, but they did kind of allude to that kind of at the end when we was talking about the two different sides of his personality. But it looks like there's probably even each side has then got its own little sides as well, where there's different variations, different personalities within that personality.
Definitely, I picked up on that. There's more than just the two personalities. Like him as Norman, there's like the two different sort of layers to him. On you go,
Burnsie.
I was just going to say I'd taken down about the ending. That was the only part that I didn't really like about the ending, because obviously I get they're explaining and how he's got the different sides to his personality, but in that room that they're in, it's her partner and her sister. There's no reaction. There's no emotional reaction from them. It's as if like they're told, she's dead, and like, all right, okay.
The sister asks twice if she's dead, and there's no like emotion or anything like that. I mean, we don't know how close they were, but the fact that she's going to all these lengths to try and locate her and stuff, and they have some sort of relationship. But I wanted to pick up, I can't remember who just said it there, but obviously you're talking about, obviously this guy's trying to explain why he's done this, and that's when they go to Norman Bates, and he's obviously got the big smile on his face. So it is like he kind of feels like he's getting away with it a wee bit.
He's tricked the psychiatrist into thinking that it was just
that's
this
what I
other.
took from it. But I'm with Burnsie that the explanation and then their reaction, like I say, the kind of leading man guy, like I really didn't rate him at all. And I just, and his sister as well. I thought the sister was better, but their reaction to what basically she's been fucking like brutally murdered, it wasn't enough at all.
No, I agree. Like,
it was like they were letting him off, and obviously he totally knew. He was like, basically he's going to get put in a fucking psychiatric hospital here.
I felt like
if you look how long he took to clean up after himself and all that, that's a person that knows exactly what they're doing. He was an absolute fucking nutcase, but he still knew what he was doing.
He definitely is fully in control, and he's managed to sort of trick the authorities into thinking that it's his mental.
The way that he stands about and watches the car like vanishing,
he loves it.
That as well, and he does it again with the private investigator as well.
Yeah, he enjoys it. He really enjoys it. Like
totally knows what he was doing, and it's not the first time he's done it either.
Exactly. Just before we move on, there was one little subtle thing before I forget it, but I'd never noticed it before, and I noticed it watching it this time. The very first time he goes up to talk to his mother when he's going to move her down into the basement because he's a bit worried that folk are going to come down, right? See when he's walking up the stairs, did you notice that he started to get a wee like sway in his hips and walk a wee bit more feminine just as he was about to turn into her? Like I
didn't notice there was like a feminine element to it, but it was very strange.
So like he had a normal, like he had his own creepy walk, but just at that moment when he was about to, you didn't know at that point that they're the same person when he's about to go into that room. I'd never noticed it before, but when he's going up the stairs, he slowly just gets that wee sort of like hip movement type of feminine walk before he goes in. Just like little subtle things like that. I think it's genius about this film. Like it's good. Sean's very quiet, by the way. I'm terrified.
Hey, I know he's not said a word.
No, I was just letting you go, and I'm in complete agreement. I did thoroughly enjoy this. I wasn't really looking forward to watching it. I'm not really sure why. Probably just because my perception of films, especially black and white films, it's insane that I've enjoyed a lot of black and white films that we've actually watched. But no, I did really enjoy it.
That you can, if you broaden your horizons, just
exactly.
That you that's kind of why I picked it, because obviously I knew that a couple of you would have seen it, but I was like, this is like seminal viewing. You know what I mean? You should need to see this movie.
Yeah, I think I've seen the remake with Vince Vaughn like many years ago, but I'd never actually seen the original. And my thoughts are pretty similar as you guys. I thought the guy that played Norman Bates was really good. I obviously knew about the shower scene, but I thought that was kind of more towards the end. I'm not really sure why I thought that. Maybe just because it is this big iconic scene. But I knew the twist, but like, I can't ever remember seeing it. Like, I can't even remember seeing it in the remake at all. So like, I'm not really sure where it is I've seen that or how I knew that. But like, I knew the twist way early into the film. I think it was as soon as she arrived at the motel, tooted the horn, he came down, and then went back up to make supper, and you hear them arguing. I then just kind of pictured it all. I was like, oh, he's the both of them. And I was racking my brains trying to think if I'd even like just seen clips of him with a wee wig on and stuff like that, which I hadn't. There was a couple of bits in it that I kind of not really cringed at, but maybe kind of smirked at a bit. Was when the private investigator got slashed and then pushed down the stairs, but he managed to walk on every step on the way down. Surely they could have done that a bit better. I know, obviously.
Come on, it's like the 50s or whatever it is.
It would have been shot in the late 50s,
but you could literally have thrown a dummy down the stairs. You didn't need them to fucking step on every step. But then the other thing that I laughed at is when he's come in to reveal himself dressed as his mum, I suppose, in the wig and that. And he's got the knife, and then the guy comes upstairs and grabs his arm. And Norman Bates just kind of like squirms with his mouth open.
The wee sort of scuffle that they have is a bit. It was a bit kind of on the kind of almost kind of.
So I thought about that at the time, and I was starting to think: is it because he's being his mum at that point that he's too weak to fight back? So he thinks he's a wee old woman.
I just think it's probably the movie probably didn't cost that much to make. You know what I mean? And you need to take it for what it is. It's very basic.
But I liked that didn't happen in the movie is you didn't see him talking in his mum's voice.
That would have really
The closest thing you got to was when he goes running back down the stairs. He's like, "Oh, the blood!" Like,
Yeah.
a wee bit there, but that was about it.
Because I just think that obviously the allusion to him being the psychopath. So the fact that you basically hear it from inside his head is a bit that I thought was really well done, because you could have really easily got him to put a voice on at the part when he's explaining, and then it could have lost it from there. So I was actually, when I seen that, I thought, you know, that's actually really well done that they've not done it that way.
They were also quite clever as well, and when you actually see him move the body, it does make it obvious it's a body. Obviously, to us, we know the twist in advance, but like, imagine first time seeing it when he carries the camera's just far enough away, and her face is like just tucked in enough to his body that you would never be able to tell it was a corpse. Do you know what I mean? And just subtle little things like that. I can imagine Alfred Hitchcock takes a lot of time over like 100%. That sort of choice. Like 100%. That's definitely like meticulous.
I was going to make sorry, Burnsie, I know you want to come in, but I was going to make that point earlier. See if this film was made in like 2020, right? The shower scene would have been way more violent. I know it was violent, but there would have been a lot more blood. Like, you 100% would have seen like her tits. Like that, they just would have put that in there for the sake of it. Like the body bit, you never actually seen her really. It was just like shots of like her bare feet and stuff like that. So you knew but it was just like you said, Daniel, it was subtle. And I think that is the genius of the movie. It was like, it was kind of protecting her. Like, what's the word? Like, dignity is the word that I'm looking for. And that's the beauty of the director.
Just even on that scene, just sorry once again, Burnsie, that the end, you see with the whirlpool, and then it goes like, and then like sort of cuts to her eye. I mean, that's just fucking genius.
Aye. That reminded me of Citizen Kane a wee bit. Like that was kind of that Citizen Kane that was laced with stuff like that.
I think of the couple of points you made, Dubs, in terms of how they protect our dignity, as you put it, is just like, I think that actually makes the film better because it makes you.
Aye, because it's an R-rated movie. This is they could have put anything they wanted to in this film. But
they're not making it too. It's not as if you have to figure things out for yourself at that, but they don't need to show you everything about the body and whatever else. And then the bit thinking back to it, which obviously shows how much I enjoyed it, because after the film, sometimes with a film, I'll just watch it and that'll be it, done. Whereas I was thinking back and I was like, in terms of how obviously you never obviously see him up the stair with his mum, but you obviously were known because if you've read about it or whatever, but it didn't even cross my mind thinking that's going to be like, it's going to be that his mum's, he's got his split personality with his mum and she's just up there, or corpse is up there and all that stuff. But it's so well done in terms of it's not obvious, but then when you see it, you're like, why did it not even cross my mind that I've never seen him with her or anything like that as well? But I think it's just perfectly written. And then going back to what I said before about the ending was just that it was like, as this is it's the only great I've got of it in terms of there was just no anger, like in terms of finding that she died. It was just like they were just kind of accepting, like, oh, he's obviously got a split personality. Didn't mean it. He was acting like he was his mum.
I think that's really what I think that's really what they were aiming for, but it wasn't very well delivered. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. I would also say at the end that the psychiatrist guy that delivered the big explanation did deliver it very much like a monologue on a stage, if you know what I mean. Like, it felt a wee bit out of place. Like, it just felt like
because the rest of the movie's like everything's. There's no much dialogue really. If you think
there's conversational
bits. You make your own like assumptions with most of it.
Yeah.
And so when they do that, that's like you're giving the viewer the benefit of the doubt that this is you need to be quite intelligent to watch this, and then at the end to have a guy just explain it.
I didn't like that. No. That's what stops this being, not to give away my score to him, but this is almost a 5-star like perfect film for me. But like, just that wee bit at the end where, like you said, it almost insults the viewer's intelligence. And maybe back then, the average cinema goer probably needed things explained quite clearly to them, if you know what I mean. It's a different
aged well for that.
Aye, but I did feel like at the end, it's like, okay, and here's all the bits that you missed, and here's all the things that you should have picked up on. I'm like, we got that. Kind of understood it. It was better just watching it.
Yeah, you didn't need that bit at all.
That's kind
of why I was saying that the film was too long. They could definitely have done with that bit for a start.
I think as well, it's like, I just thought of this scene as well, like even like I was on the edge of my seat for most of it watching it because you didn't really know when there was going to be interruptions or when they were going to get caught. Like, when obviously the lassie who dies, her partner and her sister goes and checks in, they're all sneaking about the rooms and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, any second they could get caught at that point, so you were kind of thinking, nothing, they obviously don't, but to me, obviously, I was expecting, whoever the guy's name, the one that Norman's, whenever Norman's, I was expecting Norman's character there to come in and catch them, and then there to be like a scuffle or whatever, but obviously that doesn't happen, but it just continues to build and build. And then I've sort of half said it earlier, I think Hunter made a great point in terms of how the soundtrack is like perfect for the film because it's nothing too loud, it's more sort of background music to an extent.
Yeah, it's a score. It's a score. There's no actual like popular music in it. It's all just tension building, like noise. You know what I mean? Like
it's amazing though. It's so it's perfect. I think. Like it tells you what to feel. Like it makes you feel on edge. There's almost noises like nails down a blackboard. Like though, like it makes you shudder a wee bit. Some of the noises that just suddenly come in. Which I think
you could have a black screen and put the noises on it. And you would feel tense.
You'd feel tense. Exactly. Spot on. The only other film I can think like that is kind of like is Jaws. As the only other movie I can think of where the music does that is just as much of a job of. I know it's different, but like it does the same job.
I think we mentioned that in another podcast that they had a lot more of the shark in it, and they've stripped it back and just used music. And this movie is probably the gold standard for that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Aye, it's such. Like I said, I found myself quite giddy watching it. I was finding myself really enjoyable. Just like the big reveals, especially. I know we've only touched on it slightly, but when she goes down into the basement and you slowly get the reveal of the woman's corpse, like
I know, I knew it was coming there as well, and I was still like again really like shocked about how just in your face and like graphic it was. I did not expect it to be. I thought it was going to be like a mannequin or something like that. I don't know why. I didn't expect it to be like a full on like skeleton. Like it was just like Jesus Christ.
I was just going to say quickly before Hunter goes, is that to me it's like how when the chair turns round. When I was watching it, maybe I'm wrong, but there's like about 3 or 4 seconds before she actually screams. But I don't know if it's not an instant shock to me.
She takes a breath. She's like,
I didn't feel like it was unrealistic the amount of time it took her.
Oh no, I wasn't saying it was unrealistic. It was more just unexpected because I was usually when you'd probably watch something, it's an immediate reaction you get for a film, whereas maybe that's how you would react instead of just being because instead of just being jumping straight away and screaming, it'd probably go through your mind. It's like, what the fuck is this? And then there'd be the reaction at that point. So I think that's actually a positive how it's not just instant. There is like a wee bit of silence first.
No, I think that's spot on. That's a really good observation, I think, because she definitely she takes a wee look to go, what the fuck? And then she's terrified, which I think is what would actually happen.
But on that was kind of like my reaction at that point as well. Because again, this was my first time seeing it. And I was wanting to paint the picture for my viewing experience for it. So I was working in Oban last Sunday. So I've left the house about 5 o'clock. I was doing some work in the house driving up. So the weather was not too dissimilar to it was tonight. So I've had to drive out all the fucking country roads up to Oban, pushing wind, rain, pitch black. And I get all the way up to this wee fucking shady hotel, and I've got to sit and start myself in to watch Psycho, man. And honestly, I am so glad because I think it
added to the experience.
Aye.
That's pretty
being in a wee dingy, horrible hotel in the middle of arsefuck nowhere probably did help the experience like that.
Oh, definitely. Maybe I'm now thinking, now we've been talking about the score, the folk in the adjoining rooms, and I've had my laptop up at like 90% volume, and I'm just here.
That's what I was going to ask you, Hunter. See, in your room, did you have a picture, and then when you took it away, there was like a hole, and you could see
Gloryhole. I'm inspired the next door neighbours, so that wasn't fun.
That fucking creeped me out, like, when Bates, like, it was so well done, like.
There was more than my finger put through that hole anyway.
Hunter's Gloryhole.
It was the same size though as what Norman was looking for.
I was going to say the same size hole, but fit a lot more through it. That was another thing actually. You mentioned Dubs, like her dignity and not quite showing. See that scene where he does look through the hole. all you get is a tiny glimpse of like side tit. A tiny bit, like, maybe almost a full tit, but not quite a full tit, and then boom, she's got her clothes on. Do you know what I mean? Like, very subtle.
And he just goes away. He's like, that's enough.
That's enough. He doesn't.
I've got a job to do.
That's enough. I'm going to stab fuck it or now.
Should we call this episode not quite a full tit?
Not quite a full tit.
That could be any one of us, to be fair.
I feel like this as a movie, and I'm not just saying it because I picked it, like, because Daniel likes this movie better than me for a start, but it's across the board that I would say that everybody probably enjoyed it more than what they were expecting, which that doesn't really happen very often.
No.
I felt confident that Sean and Burnsie would be dreading it, but then come out the other side enjoying it. Like, I genuinely thought
kind of like falling over the top of each other to like throw like compliments at it as well. Like,
I love it. I genuinely love it. Obviously, Sean's buzzing to give it more compliments as always.
But it's quite hard to get a see.
I was just going to say, the only thing even me and Sean spoke about, which is, like, I said to him about obviously the previous film, and then I was like, Dubsy's pick, surely it's going to be better than that. And obviously your response, like, was something along the lines of Sean saying a 1960s black and white horror film, great. And obviously, like you say about preconceived ideas, because I wasn't expecting to enjoy it half as much as what I have, similar to Sean. And it's definitely not a film, not that I watch any films like with this movie club anyway, but in terms of if I was looking and I was that bored I was going to watch a film, if I saw that I would have just immediately swiped past it. I wouldn't even contemplate stopping or whatever. So it's definitely something that has been a really good fit.
I wouldn't even class this as a horror movie. Like, it's
more thriller than horror, definitely.
Just horror stroke thriller.
That's what I mean.
Aye. I would definitely say this is an original horror movie. It's definitely horrific. It's just of a different time. Do you mean there's stabbings to death? There's a corpse that's been kept alive for 10 years that he's living with. Do you mean it's definitely horror?
Yeah.
And it's inspired what horror definitely is now. But yeah, and you come, Sean, and you come.
The last great horror movie. That's what we'll call it.
The last great horror movie, and first.
Yeah.
Are we good?
We're good, Sean.
Aye, so it's just hard to get a kind of word in, especially when everybody's in agreement when we like a film. But like I would just be going over kind of stuff that I've already just said. But it was obviously that was the message I sent to Burnsie, that was my kind of preconceived idea of it. Just like a black and white horror / kind of thriller. Like, there's no anything that would kind of get me going. But once it started, I was fully going.
Fully erect.
Yeah. There's no much I can add to what you've said, but I think there's maybe only a handful of black and white films that we've watched that were made in this time. I'm not counting The Lighthouse in it, but like say this 12 Angry Men, which I thought I would have absolutely hated, and I loved it. I think I gave it a 5.
Isn't the private investigator in 12 Angry Men too?
I think so, yeah. He's very good in this. He's definitely very good in this.
And 12 Angry Men, he's like, is he one of the really easy jurors to like he keeps
sway between both sides.
He's that gullible. They just everything that everybody says convinces him to.
He's the main, like, the juror, the first guy, like the main guy that's organises it all.
Is he the star, the main guy?
No, not the main character. Like do you know how they elect like the head juror who says shit and
yeah.
That's him.
There are a few things in life that you must check. You must check your wages are in the bank at the end of the month. You must check one of your friends hasn't made an illegal transfer in your fantasy league. And you must also check
your bollocks.
Cojones Scotland have the website for you to learn how to do just that. Head over to cojonesscotland.org for your self-help guide on how to check your bollocks.
Slightly off topic, but have any of you seen the James Gandolfini kind of remake?
No.
I want to watch that as well. I've kind of been meaning to watch it since we watched the original one. But
I think it's got a really good cast.
I know, but
I don't know who else is in it apart from him.
It's just, I don't know.
Is it not just like a blow for blow, but just fucking like
remake? I think it's scene for scene remake, like scene for scene. But Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. You mentioned, Sean, the remake of this film. Sorry, before we move on, has anyone else seen the Vince Vaughn version of Psycho?
That sentence just makes me want to vomit.
I actually can't remember anything about it, but I've definitely seen it because
I'm going to say something here. Vince Vaughn's actually fantastic in it.
Does he play Norman Bates?
He plays Norman Bates. It's just obviously it will never compare to what this is, and they'll never live up to it. But like, he is fucking unbelievably good at it. Like, the rest of it's all a bit shit, and like I say, it's a remake of a
Vince
classic.
Vaughn in Swingers. So if you've seen Swingers,
yeah. There's definitely a good actor in there with Vince Vaughn, but he's fucking brilliant. I thought. Sean, do you remember watching it?
No, but I've definitely seen it because I can vividly remember the shower scene, but I couldn't. Like I didn't actually realise it was Vince Vaughn until I looked at it today.
But I know Vince Vaughn, he's got that sort of, like I said, affable. Like he seems like a really nice guy, like innocent and all that. And then that's the first time I'd ever see him do something devious like that, and like him turning was good, man. But it doesn't compare to this, but it's definitely worth a watch. I would say it's not the worst remake you've ever seen.
What about like the sequels of this, like Psycho 2, 3, and 4? Have any seen them?
Nah, I've no interest. I'm assuming Hitchcock's got nothing to do with them.
No idea.
I'm on it.
Well, go check.
Psycho 2 was made in the 80s, which is...
There you go. So Hitchcock's got nothing to do with it.
I think it was 25 years after.
In the 60s.
Aye, because I've got no interest in that whatsoever.
Isn't it a cameo? I take it you've all noticed that, aye?
Is it?
At the start, aye.
Is that your trivia hunt or not?
Aye, that's aye, yeah.
Standing outside their workplace, whatever it was, an insurance place or something. I'm sure he does that in all his films.
Let me read out to you Psycho 2 synopsis here. After 22 years of psychiatric care, Norman Bates attempts to return to a life of solitude, but the spectres of his crime and his mother continue to haunt him.
See, at least they've waited 20 years to add to it. At least they've kind of done something.
They must have had to wait till Hitchcock was dead and they couldn't have any say over them doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Psycho 3 was directed by Anthony Perkins, who obviously plays Norman Bates. In Psycho 3, it's Norman Bates falls in love with a fallen nun who stays at the Bates Motel alongside a drifter and a curious reporter. Meanwhile, mother is still watching.
Alfred Hitchcock died in April 1980, which was a few years before Psycho 2.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. That's what I would think. I would imagine he's put a stop to them ever doing a sequel, and then he's dead, and they're like, "Fuck, let's fucking shag his corpse."
And the fact that Anthony Perkins directed the third one, he must have been fucking desperate Dan by that point.
Aye.
Well, like I say earlier, there is a Psycho 4 which came out in 1990, which wasn't directed by Anthony Perkins, but he does star in it. And it's Norman Bates recalls his childhood with his abusive mother whilst fearing his unborn child will inherit his split personality disorder.
Wow. I mean, I would imagine a prequel would be more interesting. I would quite like to have seen, but they made a TV series of Bates Motel, which is that, isn't it? I've never watched it, but apparently that's quite good, the TV show. Which is like
Netflix or Prime or?
It was before that, originally. It must have been.
No, I'm sure it's on one of them because
it will be on one of them now, but it was originally like an actual network.
Starring Vera Farmiga, who's a favourite.
She's brilliant. She's in The Departed.
Burnsie liked her.
Loved the love triangle.
Aye, Burnsie was all about her. Vera Farmiga.
I can't remember that at all.
You can't remember it? It's in your 3 most recent Google searches. Of course you remember it.
I shared them earlier with you, actually.
Vera Farmiga nudes. I know you sent it.
Vera Farmiga Glasgow Hotel.
What a reference. What a reference.
Keep talking.
HSD. Hunter, let's get some trivia then.
Yes, indeed. Right. So, when the cast and crew began work on the first day, they had to raise their hands and promise not to divulge one word of the story. Hitchcock also withheld the ending part of the script from his cast until he needed to shoot it. The Bates house, though moved from its original location, still resides on the Universal Studios lot. The motel has been replicated. It is a regular stop on the Universal Studios tram tour.
Nice.
So Alfred Hitchcock wanted to make this movie so much that he deferred his standard $250,000 salary in lieu of 60% of the movie's gross. Paramount Pictures believed that this movie would do poorly at the box office, so they agreed. His personal earnings from this movie exceeded $15 million. So
Wow.
adjusting for inflation in 2020, that would have been $131 million.
Yeah,
Wow.
decent choice, isn't it?
Aye.
There's similar stories of that, like funny enough, Jaws just came up again. Your main man for Jaws, Thingy Schneider,
Yeah.
he got offered, it was something like 100 grand or a percentage of Jaws going forward, and he took the 100 grand. He never took the percentage, and he's lost out in like hundreds of millions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the guy, is it Alec Guinness that plays Obi-Wan Kenobi in the original Star Wars movie? I think the only way he agreed to do it because he thought it was such a terrible script and he thought it was going to be a failure. I think he asked for like some sort of cut of the whole like thing, and so like his estate now gets like ridiculous money.
Yeah.
And he himself didn't actually even want to really be in the film.
It's clever, eh? Like
There's one.
On you go.
There's one I've seen. I've just searched up there as well with Matt Damon in Avatar, where he was offered a role. His standard fee plus 10% of any box office earnings for Avatar, and he turned it down. And it would have been at least 250 million on top of what he would have got paid if he started Avatar.
It's wild, eh?
That's mental.
Matt Damon seems like that kind of guy, though. He doesn't really seem like a Hollywood like guy. You know what I mean? He just seems like I'm just going to do what I want, and I'm just going to go home and. Like,
I'm sure him and Ben Affleck are still share a bank account or something like that. Like they had a shared bank account when they were first actors, and they just went into that for whatever they needed. They weren't do that first; just wanted to make films and that. Can you go, Hunter?
Aye. So in the novel, it is explained that Marion and Sam met on a cruise and fell in love, which is how the relationship became a long-distance one. And in the same novel, which this movie was based, was inspired by the true story of Ed Gein, a serial killer who was also the inspiration for Deranged, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, loads of inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, it was nominated for 4 Oscars, including Best Director and Best Supporting Actress, at 1-0.
Never won an Oscar.
No.
Fucking hell.
Shocking.
It never fails to amaze me when like some of the things that they win and then some and the things that don't. It's obscene.
Simba, the guy that played Simba, he gets a percentage of his films. That's what I was trying to think earlier. Just to go back a segment there, just to take us off track. The guy that did the voice of Simba, the wee boy, he took a percentage for the rest of his life instead of taking money. He's obviously done well at the Lion King.
Yeah.
Don't smoke
like
weed,
a
guys.
child, was it?
Answer questions too
Or
quick.
was it older Simba?
He was in the younger
older Simba's Matthew Broderick. Old Simba.
The younger boy was in the House Improvements, the TV show.
Home Improvements.
What's the one? Home Improvements.
House Improvements. That's the name of the episode. House Improvements.
House Improvements. Norman Bates's House Improvements. Holes in the wall and fucking.
Up there with fucking Joseph Fritzl's Home Improvements.
A shower with no curtain on it.
Oh, that was funny, Kyle.
I'll not try again, eh? Fucking hell. Right, let's get fucking scoring this film, right? Let's get on.
Let's go House.
I'm not going first. Dubs, you go first.
Right, I'm going to mark mine up as well. I put down a score, but I'm going to go up to a 3.75. I just think that, like, obviously the way it ends and it is a bit drawn out, takes some score away from it. But overall, I would definitely watch it again. It was a class experience, and it really hit the mark for me. 3.75.
3.75. Sean?
I'm going to give us a 4. A decent score.
There we go. A 4 from Sean. Also a 4 from me. Hunter?
4.5.
4.5. Bingo?
4.5 as well.
Oh, are we going to get a 5 from Daniel?
No, it's another 4.5. I love it, though. I fucking love it. I absolutely love it. It's so good. It makes me happy, this film.
Yeah, I think if I watched it again, I would probably score it higher. I've actually scored it the lowest.
You have, I noticed that.
What? So does that come in as a what, 2.17?
Straight in the middle.
Straight in the
Straight
middle.
in the middle with a 4.21.
Oh, that's a high score.
Oh, that's right up there.
That's in there.
4.21 puts this 17th on our list.
Oh, No Country for Men's going to be out of the top 20 now.
That's why I put it so high.
17th on our list, just behind Whiplash. But
you need
just
to
in front.
You need to watch that, Dubs, by the way. I'd love your thoughts on Whiplash.
Oh, I've seen Whiplash.
Aye. Brilliant.
I've went back to it a couple of times. I think you were really you really enjoyed it. I didn't quite feel that way about it, but it is a good movie.
I believe the best ending to a movie ever was quoted in that podcast.
I definitely scored it over, so I watched it, I finished it literally minutes before we started recording, and I was still see that ending, I was still fucking sweating to watching it, all buzzing and that. I was like, this was fucking amazing. Maybe not quite as good in the cold light of day, but fucking loved that ending.
We would never.
The guy that plays the music teacher is just
J.K. Simmons, amazing.
A force of nature,
amazing, really good.
Just some of the movies that this is just in front of is Fargo, Fight Club, John Wick, and The Wrestler, that are all tied on 4.20.
I've never seen The Wrestler before. I really need to see that.
Oh, you need to see that, man. Aye, definitely.
Oh,
you'll love it. Oh, you'll love it. It's right up your street.
Get fucking Old Dad's changed to that.
We've already done it for this, but you can do that. You can just watch that instead. We'll tell you about Old Dads, and you can do a review of The Wrestler. I'm happy with that.
But Sean's review, and
aye,
that's what's good.
But yeah, I would quite like to change that.
Well, that does bring us to the end of this one. Just to tell you what is coming up for movies, you will be glad to know that we've got a selection from Hunter and myself as the next two movies.
There's some choice wars going on there.
Well, I don't know which one's going to be worse out of these. So this is my scene pick. And Hunter, I believe this could also be your scene pick. Yours is Don't Worry, Darling.
Yes, that was my scene pick. Yeah.
I'm worried, darling.
And for my scene pick, we've got V for Vendetta.
I've never seen that.
I'm worried twice. I'm preemptively going to predict it. The name of that episode in advance is going to be S for shite.
I can't believe you can't be shit on V for Vendetta, guys. Fucking hell.
Oh.
Just like nervous faces there. But yeah,
I'm convinced, Phil, that I'll give it a better score than your last one.
I'm convinced. No, you won't. It's going to be 0 point something for Burnsie. I'm predicting it early doors.
I gave it 0 the last time, so I could give it a 0.25.
Who's in V for Vendetta?
Natalie Portman, is that who's in?
And is it Hugo Weaving?
Yeah.
And
absolutely. I can't wait to talk about this film. I was going to say something there, but I'm going to keep it.
Is Hugo Weaving the Mr. Smith?
Yes.
I like him
as Mr. Smith.
Listen, in a week we were watching Don't Worry, Darling. I hope I don't get the worst movie out of the two.
I've seen bits of that. Fucking drivel.
Well, that does bring us to the end of this episode, and as Morons do bid you farewell.
That was a very abrupt end.
It was very abrupt, eh?
Yeah.
Do you know what's not abrupt? What's not abrupt is the long-lasting taste of bison grass Polish wheat beer from Beer 52.
/morons.
Beer52.com/morons.
Let's at least get us paid for it, eh? Never mind just...
man. I need to actually ask the guy how many we've sold.
I doubt it's fucking much,
Sorry I don't speak moron as well as you, but let me try.
What the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
It's a moron. That's not against the law.
Gun! You fucking moron!
Stuff like Batman.
Because he is Batman, you moron.
What are you, a fucking moron?
You moron. Drop dead. Moron.
Whoa!
Up here, you morons.
Stepping morons like yourself.
Me down, you moron! Hey, moron!
Bid you farewell and good luck, morons. Bye.